All right, we are going to be doing another one deck, one reading where we will be using one deck that I own and doing one reading with that deck, one 3 card reading. If you're interested in booking a private reading, my readings are open at this time. But for now, we're going to be doing this free general message. Remember to take what resonates. I can't stress that enough. These messages could fit for you, they might not. So if this one does or doesn't, and you've checked out my other one deck, one reading, and you're like, this does not appeal to me, doesn't apply to me, but you've learned something from the reading, or maybe it's meant for someone else that you know, however you connect with it, if you're interested in learning tarot and you're inspired to buy a tarot deck from this reading, then hopefully it helps you in some way in one of those ways. So, a little fact about this particular deck is that it is entirely monochromatic purple, black, and white. Little bits of gray here and there, I believe, but it is a mainly purple tarot deck. I got this off the TikTok shop for about $10. Now, I'm not here to shame anybody who buys off the TikTok shop, but unfortunately, much like a lot of items off of the TikTok shop, we ran into the problem of I couldn't find this deck anymore. It's not available in the US anymore. So this is one of its own, one of its kind. Not sure if I remember the name of the person who published it. The box that it came in was very, very flimsy. I pretty much unfortunately broke it upon arrival because it was very just poorly done. But something about this deck I couldn't really part with, and I maintained a relationship with it. So, as you do maintain relationships with your decks, it's really hard to part with them. I'm going to see what the message is with this particular deck. Unfortunately, I cannot let you know where I got it besides TikTok. It was $10. I'm sure if you Googled purple tarot, you should be able to find something. But for now, we're going to get into this message. Remember to take what resonates. I cannot stress that enough. These messages are very generalized for the purpose of being for the general collective. So, regardless of what your zodiac sign is, if you are looking for a love reading, looking for a career reading, whatever you want from it. Hopefully it helps you. Okay, let's get into this message. I'm going to cut the deck a few times, do like an odd little shuffle here. You've probably noticed that the deck also has a bit of a curve to it. If you are looking for a deck review, I'm going to give one real quick. It is a nice size for people who have like kind of small hands like I do. The original Rider-Waite is right here, so as you can tell, it is smaller, but it also has a much thinner, like flimsier cardstock. So if you aren't interested in any of those features, or you are, you're welcome to go looking for the deck. But if you are looking for it, I do bid you the best of luck because it is really hard to find this deck now. So let's go ahead and tap in with this deck and see what our message is. Again, I cannot stress enough, please take only the parts that resonate for you. If it doesn't make sense to you, feel free to sit with it. Feel free to bookmark this for later. A like, a comment, a subscription to my channel. It all goes a long way, and I do really appreciate your support. Thank you. Okay. What is the message that the collective needs to hear that only this deck can tell us? Whoa! Was that 3? Yes, it was. We have 2 face down and 1 face up. And if you know anything about reading tarot, even if you don't, the way that I personally read tarot is I read the card that's face up first and the ones that are face down last, because the face down energy generally tells us that there is something we're not supposed to know yet, or that we kind of do know, but we're being sort of ignorant about. And I also like to read the bottom card of the deck to kind of give us a similar idea, subconscious energy, if you will. So the top card of the deck is the Queen of Cups, and the bottom card of the deck is the Queen of Pentacles. Both queens, okay? And regardless of your gender identification, how you resonate with the world, the queens are a representation of the way that we handle things internally, the way that we handle things amongst our peers. It's not really about the femininity of it, more so that it's just the regulation of it. So think of the ways that you're regulating your resources right now. Um, in high hopes of regulating your emotions, you're also trying to regulate stability as well. So, a lot of your fear seems to be coming from a lack of internalized resource. And you're kind of hoping that you can be in a better, more stable position so you can also regulate your emotions. So, whatever you're going through right now, there's a lot of fear in terms of being in a stable enough position to feel your emotions and feel confident in the resources that you have. But I don't really get that it's a lack of confidence. I think that you're always going to be the person that you are. I think you're just maybe a little bit afraid to come out of your shell, but that's just based on what this energy entails. I'm going to quickly look in the middle of the deck to kind of give me like a little hint at what these messages might be saying, because we only have the Page of Cups here. So it's looking like the Ace of Swords and the Two of Cups. So some sort of conversation, some emotional depth that's not really happening here with this Page of Cups. I think the Page of Cups and the Queen of Cups is kind of like a juxtaposition of, you want to be more emotionally present with something, but you're having a really hard time with it because there's just something very muddled in the way that you're able to express yourself. And it's maybe a concern of yours that you're getting in your own way a little bit, maybe. But we're going to look at the other cards in a bit. I'm just going to kind of go off based on the Queen of Cups we had at the top of the deck and also the Queen of Pentacles we had on the bottom. I'm going to actually go ahead and situate this right here. I think it's a good spot for it. I'm a little bit in the way right here, but I think you can tell this says Queen of Pentacles right here. We also have the Page of Cups as our starter card. So in the Page of Cups, we're kind of looking at an energy of someone who is able to present emotions and then present those emotions with expression. So not just presenting, this is the way that I feel, but genuinely able to express, this is the way that I feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just saying, I'm angry at you, or I'm sad, or I'm lonely, or I'm feeling some type of way, but being able to express it in a way that allows you to carry it with you and help others with it. So, how are you helping yourself and others through the ventures of your emotions? How are you expressing it in a way that allows you to be present within it and also present it to others that helps them be present with it? You might not be a pro at it. The Page of Cups is not a pro at this presentation of emotion. The Page of Cups is generally, we'll use they, them pronouns for the Page of Cups. They're generally a character of, or maybe they mischaracterize themselves a little bit in the way that they're able to express their emotions because they're not as capable yet. The Page has only just learned how to handle their emotions. Now, expressing them is something they're still wet behind the ears. They're still kind of learning how to be the person that they want to be in that Queen of Cups on the top of the deck energy. But I think they're afraid of the resources that they have not being stable enough to kind of back up what they're saying. So I think what this energy is saying generally is that whatever you're going through, there's some sort of lack of confidence, not necessarily a lack of confidence because you don't believe in yourself, but a lack of confidence in the resources you have to keep you going. And I think what I think this is kind of saying is not really a lack of self or a lack of outside external self, but really just understanding that sometimes our insecurities can be projected accidentally on the things that we don't have control over, and then we take it as a hit on what we are or who we are. So I don't know if that's making any sense to anybody. Of course, only take what resonates. I can't say that enough. When a reader says take what resonates, please keep in mind that it is a message of take only the parts that make sense to you. So what are these two cards going to say? Let's find out. I don't know what order they necessarily fell in, but we are going to just kind of look. So we have the Two of Swords as one of our cards, and we also have the Nine of Swords. So the Two of Swords, if you remember, is a card of indecision. And I don't really think that it's a message of you are indecisive in the way that you're expressing yourself. I think it's really just you're kind of blinded by your own mentality, and you're blinded by your mentality and your lack of effort through that mentality. It's kind of like the person who's always stuck in a loop of indecision doesn't realize how it makes them look or how it makes them sound. And so whatever you're expressing outward, I think is kind of putting you back in this constant loop, because the Nine of Swords is also sort of being up at night, stressing over how you've been heard or how you've been seen. And so it's kind of keeping you in this loop of, I feel really bad about the way I'm being seen. I don't know if you're really worried about your self-expression or you're worried about how your self-expression is coming off, and maybe you are, maybe you aren't. But I think really this is about I think if you're worried about how you're coming off, I'm sorry to tell you this very honestly, very bluntly, you are coming off a way that would concern other people, but I think that the concern is showing up more as love than you're maybe able to see just because you're too self-conscious, you're not able to see that. You're kind of stuck in your own loop. So while you're stuck in your loop, you do have the resources. Those resources are supporting you, but I think what you're afraid of most is something that you're just kind of doing to yourself anyway. So kind of self-fulfilling prophecy here. So I do think that there is a conversation that needs to be had. I think there's like a conversation of concern that needs to be had. We had the Ace of Swords and the Two of Cups in the middle, and I think that third card in the middle, we'll just peek and see what it was, is the Lovers. There's a lot of love going on around you. So I think whatever you're concerned about is I think it's an equal share of concern. I think it's unfortunately causing a bit of a back and forth that's continuing the cycle. So whatever cycle you want to end, it does start with you, and it starts with intentional efforts. And what you're doing right now is probably the best that you can do given your circumstances. If you could try harder, you would. And I don't want you to look at this message so much as a call out. Just understand that if you are feeling this way, it's valid, it's understood, but it is also seen as much as you're worried it's being seen. I don't think that people are seeing your thought process as much. So maybe some care and vulnerability and concerns to just say, hey, like this situation is really messing me up. So how can we make this better for the both of us? And if you don't feel like you're in a situation where you can really have these conversations, you kind of need to kind of dwell into and reflect into why that is. But I do not want to do the work for you. I understand that this might be a sensitive topic given whatever it is in your situation. All I can tell you right now, though, is that the way that you're thinking about the situation really is going to help or hurt the situation further. However, you want it to get better, you have to start thinking in terms of that, and that will gradually, the more you put effort into it, help you get to where you're trying to go with it. I wish you all the best, and thank you so much for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. I don't like asking for it, but I might as well. Thank you so much for your support and watching all the way through, and best of luck to you. Bye bye.